Hey, everybody, welcome to the Standing Stone podcast. This week, we have a compilation of some of the old You Ask, We Answer episodes. We got a little help from our video editor to pull some of the best questions for preseason prep, as hunting season is either just started for some of you folks or right around the corner. Thank you for taking the time to listen this week. I hope you enjoy. Let's get started.
Other things that having your dog ready for the season include whether you've got a puppy or a seasoned dog.
We've got a good mixture of that today.
Yeah, if you've got a puppy, you definitely want to make sure that they have formal gunfire introduction, bird introduction, and a solid collar conditioning to recall. I would say those are the three absolute must-haves before you take a dog
I
out.
think we shot a video on this. You could search Standing Stone Kennels
Hunting
must-haves.
season prep
Yeah,
or
hunting
something.
season must-haves or pre-hunting season must-haves, something like that.
And then it would be really nice as well if you've had an opportunity to take your dog out to see what they'll do on birds, to see if they've got some pointing instinct, to see if you can harness that. And you can do that a number of ways, whether you can plant birds or utilize electronic launchers. We love DT Systems bird launchers. If you were at our seminar last weekend, you will understand how awesome those are. As well as if you have an opportunity to formally low train your puppy, great. And then your puppy should have, or it would be nice if your puppy had at least a natural retrieving desire so that you don't lose birds that you get, shot out in the field.
Yeah, and 100% retrieving is important, but you can go without them doing it. So don't feel like if your dog doesn't retrieve, you can't go hunting. But cats, I mean, it's a pain in the butt if you got a cripple and you don't have dogs helping with that. So developing good retrieving habits is important. We got, oh, hey, buddy.
This is super lovey.
I need some love, mama.
And then if you've got an older dog, getting them in for a preseason tune-up is not a bad idea to get them out to stretch their legs a little bit, refresh some of the obedience, refresh some of the, field manners. And it definitely depends on the level of, prior training that your older dog has had. We have a dog in right now, Odette, that she has been here for previous training. She's a little Brock Francais. Absolutely love her. She's one of the Brock Francais that actually made me love the breed. Such a sweet, cute personality. She came in for a preseason tune-up. She's had a trained retrieve previously, and we're just gonna polish that up again for her owners for 30 days, and then she'll be ready to hit the fields hunting again. So that's something that we offer for previous training clients.
Absolutely. And like Kat said, previous training clients only. So if it's your first time stay here, or you're looking for that, our minimum is 3 months of training. But once they've gone through the program, we do a lot of tune-ups for folks right up coming into the season. And those can be, usually it's about 30 days is enough to get them.
30 days to 6 weeks typically is all it takes. It depends how sloppy they've gotten, but we can tune them up.
You went there, not me. Primarily the conditioning of you and conditioning of your dogs. If it's a first season thing, like Kat said, the minimums, that's important. If it's a second season or anything else, a lot of times, and this was brought up in the seminar itself, actually. No, when did he? No, it was just I was talking to a buddy that came out, okay? Um, we went out to the field today, and this was actually Thunder's first time. If any of you guys consistently watch, you've seen Thunder's videos, and in Thunder's video, we did a video back in March, April timeframe of what he was like coming out of his first season and then guiding with a buddy of mine on a preserve. So that preserve hunting stuff, usually dogs get a little sloppier yet. And it was kind of a disaster. And you see me and I'm pulling my hair out going, what is going on here? So we get to see where he's at, what he needed. And then I've pretty much shown all of his progress coming through. Excuse me. Other than his actual
Trained retrieve.
I didn't do all of that. We have a really, really good series for the full steps with Legend, and it gets to all of it. So,
but yeah, you did you did one video that showed all the steps of low training that we were able to accomplish with Thunder in one go.
Because he needed that bad.
And then we did some videos showing his retrieving, marking abilities, and
yeah, we worked on that aspect of things, and I would say that's one of his stronger points overall. He's got a lot of strong points, but that's one of his stronger points overall. He's got a lot of love for retrieving, a lot of love to work, which allows us to continue to challenge him on a regular basis.
Yep, and then just tuned up some of those obedience behaviors that we like to have, especially when Ethan's guiding and having those dogs under control around the truck, in and out of the field, healing, that sort of thing is really important. One other thing that I wanted to mention, that I hear a lot about training in general, which I know it kind of goes hand in hand with hunt season prep, but I mean, that's what people are doing when they're sending us their dogs for training or when they're asking about sending dogs for training is ultimately they want those dogs to be able to be hunted in the season. So, whether you're studying with a blank slate or an older dog for a tune up, that's great. But people say, and this is pretty common verbiage and comments that we get is, well, I don't need my dog to be a champion. I don't need my dog to be, this amazing dog. I just want to go hunting a few times a year. And I understand what you're saying, but I also want you to understand from a standpoint of training. It's not like, oh, well, um, I'm going to skip steps because you don't really need those steps because you don't want to champion. No, I still need to cover all the bases, go over all the groundwork to get your dog to the point where they can be taken hunting safely and for the dog to not have a bad experience. And that means that I have to go through the same steps as I go with most other dogs, bird introduction, gun introduction, the obedience training, positive pigeons, pointing birds in the field, formal woe training. Natural retrieving is typically all that we work on unless somebody has specific goals for a more polished retrieve. But still, all of those things aren't necessarily to make your dog a champion. They're to make your dog a well-rounded, handleable bird dog that you're going to be happy and enjoy hunting with. Or people say, "Well, I only hunt a couple times a year, so I don't need them to be a champion or this awesome dog." Well, if you're only hunting a couple times a year, I almost think that that means that we need to do more because we need those behaviors to be very well conditioned. So it's kind of like if you don't use it, you lose it. Well, especially with a young dog that hasn't had a season, if they're only going to get an opportunity to hunt once a year, we need to make sure that the rest of the groundwork is laid and very well conditioned so that it becomes almost second nature. As well as then you're not busy trying to handle your dog constantly on your one hunt that you get to go on a year. You can actually enjoy that experience and your dog can get the most out of it, if that makes sense. So I just wanted to throw that little caveat in there because it's something that gets brought up pretty regularly in conversation about training, in comments that we see, and in questions that we get about, well, I don't need my dog to be this phenomenal bird dog or this champion, or, I only go hunting a couple times a year. Well, we still have to do the same things to get them there.
Yeah, and the big difference with that aspect of things is the champion side of stuff. I'm gonna say right now, champion being a generic term for titled in some way, shape, or form, right? Um, the high levels of achievement in that titling game take way more than we would stop with a super well-rounded hunting dog. I mean, it's like here. Let's give you an example here. So here, and then over there on the other side of that wall, that's like the high levels of testing stuff, right? You can't even see the wall over there. That's what I'm getting at here. This is um, puppy way down. All right, this is bad. It's a lot, folks. And what we want is a dog that is easy to handle and an enjoyable part of an addition to the hunt. Not that 1 or 2 days that you go out a year or 10 days you go out a year, whatever, a pain in the butt that you're like, why did I even do this? That's not what we want. We want it to be relaxing, we want it to be fun, and that's what it's supposed to be.
Exactly. So, how do you introduce your dogs to their first birds?
We actually have a video out on how we do it, but we typically, with a young puppy, that would be a first introduction is a lot of times a dead bird that I'll just grab for a puppy out of the birds we've shot that day and toss it. The other side of it, when it's a true session for them for bird introduction, we take a pigeon most of the time. We lock wings on that pigeon so that they're doing one without the flapping wings of, if they're pumped about that, then we go right to wings flapping. Let's see what you got for a prey drive. Let's bring that out. So,
Absolutely. I'll do the same thing. A dead bird of some sort, pigeon, chucker, depending on the size of the dog, maybe start with a smaller size duck, hen mallard, and I'm going to play with it and tease it and get that puppy extremely, extremely excited so that any like nerves that they may have about this thing go out the window because I pumped them up. I want to build drive and I want to build it as a really positive, exciting thing.
Absolutely. I like the way you said that too, because I think that the average person gets too hung up on obedience and they feel like, which obedience is important. Don't get me wrong there, but there is a time and a place for it. And a young puppy, if they're jumping on you and they're pumped and all of these things are happening, and it's their first bird introduction, none of that matters. They need to be pumped and excited about that bird.
Absolutely.
So teasing them and getting them that way is the best way to get it.
Definitely don't want to create apprehension around that bird at all. And if you're getting after your puppy, we're jumping at you, you can definitely taint that situation a little bit.
Right. The other thing I wouldn't worry about in my first few sessions is, let's say your dog doesn't pick it up.
Yeah.
Let's say you try and you're fired up and happy puppy voice and it's not doing it. That doesn't mean you have a bad dog.
It's not the end of the world.
It's not the end of the world. Put the dog up, put the bird up, try again the next day.
Absolutely.
Don't beat the dead horse and try it for an hour. Try it for 5-10 minutes and then put the duck away, put the dog away, try again tomorrow. And that dog will do it. Might take a week, might take the first throw. I don't know, but be patient with that dog.
Yeah, 100%. Great question.
From Brand State Breed, breaking it down, what is the most important skill to make sure your dog understands before heading to the field? And can this be taught to an older dog after the field?
So my answer would be gunfire. You can't have a gun dog if they're afraid of guns. So there's so many people out there that have, taken firecrackers or 4th of July or shot a dog over the dog's head just to see if it's gun shy.
Yeah.
Well, I would bet you more times than not, they're going to have a problem with that. So I introduce it when the dog's maturing. I'm not doing it as a puppy. I'm maybe getting them acclimated to loud noises, but I'm not shooting a gun around a puppy until they've got serious prey drive, retrieve drive. I've built that, and now I can incorporate that at a distance. So I feel like if you have a dog that has never been around gunfire or guns, and you can't have a gun dog. So
Teach children is heading to the field if they haven't introduction.
Absolutely.
And even to the extent, like you're saying, just to see, there is no such thing as a dog born gun shy. All of it's created, whether that be from a lack of socialization or improper introduction. It all can be created. And I don't believe that there's a dog born gun shy. So,
and I definitely get this.
The question was, what's the most important thing before you're going to the field, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
And can this be taught to
gunfire is huge.
After the fact? So I'm not sure after the fact, after you've already gone to the field, can you come back and introduce things? Well, yes, you can. Now, if you've gone to the field without a proper gunfire introduction and you cause a problem, you're definitely going to have a lot of work to fix that problem that you may not have had to do and properly prepared for field. And one other thing that people tell us that they do all the time is, oh yeah, I took my dog to the range, to the clay shooting, and I just had him in the adult cart or staked him out and just shot around him.
Don't do that.
No.
Don't do that. That's a great way to cause a problem. Not every time. Some dogs are just so bold, so confident, and have been really well socialized that that's not going to cause a problem. But I would say that situation much more few and far between than the opposite, where you're going to cause a huge problem. It's going to take lots of time, money, energy, effort to get over.
So 2 things. First of all, I think you asked, usually what I've heard is you ask 10 dog trainers a question, you get 10 different answers. But I would say that would be one that probably is not disagreed with by anyone, that taking your dog to a gun range to introduce them to gunfire is a bad idea. Yeah. Now, as far as what's the most important, in my opinion, it's more of a 3-part thing. You need to have a dog, 2 parts at the most. They need to be introduced to birds so that doesn't cause bird shyness. They need to be introduced to gunfire. That is huge. But then the last is you got to be able to have that dog that's going to actually come back to you, or you're going to be able to get a hold of them. So you need those 3 things, in my opinion, in order to be able to take your dog. If they'll come back to you, they're good with birds and gunfires, go have fun.
I agree.
Agreed. I don't know how many times I can say that, but I agree with you on everything.
We're going to say it 1,000 more times.
My question this week is about the tone function on my dog's e-collar. In your opinion, what is the best way to utilize the tone function during training or hunting? I've seen videos of other people using the tone function for recalling their dogs or training the tone sound to be a marker for positive reinforcement from an extended distance. However, I'm not completely sold on either of these ideas and value professional opinion far more than theirs. Laugh out loud. Any input would be greatly appreciated. Well, we appreciate you trusting us and asking for our opinions. We use DT Systems collars, and all of the models that we use actually don't have tone, but we know how it's used.
So I want to start this one by saying if you are working through and don't already, I'm trying to see what it's
He has a
my-
tone function.
No.
What are you trying to work through?
I was going to say that if you're working through training your own dog, following our videos, you should check out patreon.com/Standing Stone Kennels, which is where Kat and I can offer you the absolute most powerful and beneficial tool that we have in our tool bag, which is our ability to read dogs and dog training sessions. So you need to jump on over there, check that out. We have multiple different tiers that allow you to just ask questions on the regular or shoot videos of your sessions and send them to us. That is going to be the most beneficial way to work through that.
We actually have a couple of other tiers too for people. One is our VIP tier, which allows you to have phone call conversations set up. And our newest tier, by popular demand, is our live training video exchange, I guess, if you will, kind of through Zoom chat or FaceTime or whatever system will work best for setting up.
Whatever works best. We're going to get on a video call with you, sit down, watch you do your training session, and we can say, whoa. Stop that right now before you create a bigger problem, and then start doing it this way. So you get live, real-time feedback on what's going on in your training sessions. You can do that. Set up an appointment to do that once a week.
And that can be a really powerful way of training your dog instead of shooting a video, posting the video. We're really good about watching those and getting back to you within 24 hours. But once you post it, we watch it, we reply with a post, and then you read the reply. It's probably closer to 36 hours, maybe 48 hours for that whole circle of information to get passed around.
Circle.
Yeah. And so if you've been doing more training sessions in that time, you could be compounding a problem if it was a really big problem that we need to step in and say, hey, wait. That's where that live video where we can step in and say, stop right now. What you're doing isn't going to be beneficial. Or we can say, hey, your puppy's got this. Let's not, beat a dead horse. Let's move on to the next step. We don't want your puppy to get bored with training. So
100%.
But
to get to the question.
Yes.
It's a good one because a lot of people do, in our opinion, utilize tone improperly, as well as utilize the beeper function. Some collars are going to also have a beeper function.
Which some of the DT Systems collars that we use, the Wrap 1450, for example, has the beeper feature, which is supposed to be used for locating your dog in the field in thick cover or knowing when they're on point. And some people use that beeper function as a warning for their dog, and they'll beep, 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 beep their dog, and their dog hightails it and turns around and comes back. So they're using it kind of for recall and or having the dog check in with them, which isn't how it's intended to be used. So that then if you need to locate them or find if they're on point and they've been so conditioned that they recall at that point, well, we don't want them recalling and pulling off of birds or anything like that.
No. And it's one of those things that's going to be pretty easy to actually teach the beeper to become recalled just via reps in general. So it's something you need to be aware of. You hit the beep, like, where are you at? Oh, you're not where I want you to be. And then immediately switch over and call them back your direction. And then the beep, like dogs anticipate, the next thing you're going to do is call me to you. So you have to kind of watch that. But into tone specifically, we're going to utilize that tone as a similar mild negative reinforcement tool, just like we would utilize vibrate.
Yep.
And so we would actually use tone for recall, not as a form of some kind of positive marker or something like that while the dog's in the field.
No, but definitely it would be utilized the same as the vibrate, which with the vibrate on our collars, not only can the dogs feel the vibration of the collar, but they can hear that, buzzing of vibrate because that box is right by their ear.
Just like sometimes you can't feel your phone, but you hear it going.
Exactly. So that's utilizing 2 senses. And with the tone, you're just utilizing 1 sense with the dog, but they're able to still put those pieces together and say, oh, I turn this sound off by doing something that I already know.
Now, I've actually seen more recently that the vibrate is almost more aversive to dogs than stimulation is on the collar. Like dogs are jumping out of their socks and freaking out because the vibrate on the collar turns on. And if that's worked through improperly, it can actually create a problem. But if it's worked through properly, it just shows that the vibrate can be an even more powerful tool that allows you to not have to use stimulation on the regular. You know, I mean, you have a dog that 100% responds to vibrate. You don't need anything else.
Yeah. And actually, in our last puppy training seminar, we worked with a whole bunch of different puppies, and all of those clients had different e-collar systems. You know, some had collars from us, some had collars that they had purchased other places, and different brands. So we were, checking things. And we even noticed from brand to brand, sometimes the vibrate on those collars is much more or less powerful. You could really feel the difference on some of them.
The Tritronics collar vibrate was almost nothing. I mean, it was like
Barely there.
Yeah.
So some of the dogs were like, I'm just ignoring this because it really doesn't matter. And then we'd switch to a DT Systems collar, and the vibrate is a little more powerful. And they're like, oh, wake up. Hello, I'm listening
I
now.
can feel that, and it gets my attention. And then was it a dog tray unit?
I don't remember what the unit was.
Something. It was like they pulled that vibrator from something else and put it in this e-collar just for the sake of getting the dog's attention. I mean,
And and I think there was also a collar that had tone that we were using as
the
well.
Tritronics one used tone. It had an interesting selector thing. So it kind of gave you like modes where you could select through different modes, and you got nick and then tone and vibrate, or you got nick and continuous and tone, but there was no nick and continuous and vibrate.
Yeah, you couldn't
function.
get the 3 you might want all at the same time. You got the 3 that they were going to give you.
You know, and yeah, exactly. Now, definitely we have a bias because we've been utilizing DT Systems collars for a very long time. They're a great company based out of Dallas. It's a small family-run business. You know, I mean, they're good people, and the equipment is really, really good. And we've been using it for a long time. So I'm going to feel most comfortable with what I've been using. But my goal with our seminars, Kat, my goal with our seminars is to be able to help you learn how to train your dog. And if you come in saying, this is my e-collar, I'm going to help you work through it. We're going to do the best that we can. I'm not going to just immediately say, it's garbage, throw it away, buy a new one.
Yeah, there are very few situations where we can't work with the collar system that you have to help you learn how to handle your dog with that system. I can probably count one time that I was like,
probably the collar's too hot.
yep, it was with little Odette, and their collar.
Tritronics Pro.
Yeah, and you had to
something.
you had to turn the dial to get from stimulation to vibrate, and then push the same buttons. And they only had levels 1 through 6, and they were pretty hot levels and pretty big jumps between each of those levels. And she was a little Brock Francais, pretty soft as far as collar pressure went, and just making slight handling errors by not turning back to vibrate and hitting the continuous on a 1. She was like, whoa, 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 whoa. I'm not ready for that. So we actually found one of the DT Systems collars, the MR1100, which is super simple. And there's a button for continuous, a button for vibrate, and a button for nick.
Yeah.
There's 3 buttons.
It's a small transmitter, fits right in your hand.
16 levels.
Super easy.
But really simple and easy to use. If you know where your buttons are, you really can't make a mistake by not turning that dial to the right level that you need to be at. So as well as it allows you to switch from vibrate to a level of stimulation just like that, not with messing with a dial on the top. So that really worked, that recommendation, and they're very happy with that collar. But for the most part, we're able to utilize the collar systems that you come in with. And when we train dogs for people, if they already have a collar system, we say, hey, bring your collar system with you when you pick up your dog, so that I don't work with you and get you comfortable handling your dog on our system and then send you home and you're like, I don't know what button to push and I don't know what level we were using. And I'm comparing apples to oranges and it's not making sense. So we want you to bring your collar system with when you pick up your dog so that you can feel comfortable working with the system you're going to have at home.
Yeah. So we've covered a lot about collars and different setups and tones. Did we actually 100% answer the question?
I think so. They were asking if they could use the tone function for recall or if they should use it more as a marker for positive reinforcement from an extended distance. And if you're using some
100%.
form of marker, you might as well just use a clicker. It's going to work better for you than having a collar and on them that they're hearing.
The clicker would be harder from a distance, I think. That's what it was kind of mentioning. But at the same time, when you're to that point, I mean, most of the time, we're not going to utilize a clicker either way. So,
yeah, once we're to the point of collar conditioning and working through that conditioning process at a distance, we're not using clickers as markers.
we're definitely not using the
reinforcement.
tone as a marker.
No.
So, yeah, you can use it. And anytime that we're showing in our videos vibrate, you would be able to utilize tone in that situation.
Great question.
It's a really good question.
This is my first bird dog, 5-month-old GSP, and pheasant season opens in 2 weeks here in Pennsylvania.
Ooh, congratulations.
On pheasant season and your puppy.
Mm-hmm.
I just have a few questions. Keep in mind that I have been training by myself and with the help of the Keystone Navda Club and have not had professional help. That's awesome that you joined a chapter and have reached out to them. We talk about this in a lot of our videos and yawas about reaching out, networking, working with a training group. If you're an amateur, if you don't know what you're doing, it's your first bird dog, they are a great resource to help you learn some of the basics, get your puppy ready, whether it's for testing or hunting. So, he points birds in training and has had a proper gun intro. What should I expect his first year in the field to look like? He will be 6 months when the season starts, which I know is usually when dogs get a little independent, and I'm already seeing signs of this. Is it okay for him to flash point? Will this cause him to learn to hold longer because they got away? Should I shoot birds he flushes instead of holding till I flush? Will he struggle to listen because he's so excited and distracted by the birds? Is it okay to put a bell on him to help keep track of him, or will this scare birds away? Important detail to this one is that unfortunately all the pheasants in Pennsylvania are now farm raised, not wild. Basically, what are the most likely things to happen in the first year for an amateur first-time pointer trainer with a puppy? I know this was long and feel free to summarize, but thanks for all the great content. There were a lot of pieces to this question, and I thought a lot of good information. The rest of those are mine, sir.
I assumed.
He's just noshing away while I'm trying to read this question.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, so there was a lot of important pieces to this question, and I think that they were a lot of good questions that probably not only Andrew has, but a lot of first-time bird dog owners, hunters are going to have this year. So
I would say the first year that I took my first bird dog out on her first ever hunt,
crazy Sam dog,
she pointed butterflies.
cows,
She pointed cows. She did end up pointing the pheasant.
which you shot for her.
I did. Then I moved from that into coming back to the house to take pictures.
The sought after photos of the dogs on point after the hunt, all the things, because, it's our first baby bird dog, first hunting season.
Mm-hmm. And then I made her point the pheasants in the tall grass behind the house because I thought that
The
would
dead
be
pheasants.
Yeah, dead pheasants behind the house in the tall grass because I thought that this would be good additional exposure and maybe we'd have less butterflies and cows on our next adventure out.
So if you're going, yeah, what's wrong with that? Don't feel like you're alone because this guy did that.
Mm-hmm.
And we want to say why that's not necessarily something that you would want your dog to do. First of all,
they're dead.
They're dead. We want those dogs to retrieve dead birds, not point them again. So expecting her to go out and point those dead pheasants in the tall grass was not the smartest idea that we had, but it kind of made sense at the time to get the picture and the experience. But It was not exactly how it should be done.
No.
But yes, so your dog has been pointing birds in training, has had a gunfire introduction. Super important prerequisites to going hunting. We actually shot a video. It's been a while now about the prerequisites and the things that you should have your bird dog be able to do, and then the things that would be really freaking nice for them to know prior to taking them out for their first hunt. What was the title of that, producer?
I believe it was called Things Your Dog Should Know Before Hunting and Other Things That Might Be Really, Really Frickin' Nice. Let me see.
So we're gonna look that up, but that would be a really good video to watch. Because something else on that list is I really would want my puppy to be collar conditioned for recall prior to going hunting, especially in um, areas that they're not used to, new environments that they're hunting in. There's a lot of activity, a lot of excitement, like you mentioned. They get on wild birds, they're shooting, there's things going on, the dogs are running, and they get lost. Or you need to be able to recall them from a potentially dangerous situation, running across a road or something. And having a solid recall, collar conditioned recall, would be one of the things that I would say would be really important to have prior to going. It's going to give you a little more control, a little more obedience and handle on the situation so that you definitely feel a little more comfortable taking your puppy out with you.
The video is called, and you can search Standing Stone 3, count them, 1, 2, 3 musts for your dog to go hunting. And then in small text, it says, and some other things that are really freaking nice for them to have.
So check that video out. It would be very beneficial for you prior to your first hunting season, especially because you still have a little bit of time to work on some things before the season kicks off. But yes, expect for your puppy to get excited and for things to maybe not go as smoothly as they do in a very controlled training situation. Now, it doesn't sound like you have wild pheasants, but hopefully the farm raised pheasants that you're going to be utilizing and hunting will be very wild like. So that if your puppy goes in and points, but it's only a flash point, and then they try and take out that bird for themselves without you moving in to flush them, that they don't catch them. Catching them teaches them some naughty habits that, hey, I really don't actually need to hold this point because I can just catch a bird. Well, that's not going to really happen with wild birds typically. So if they try and flashpoint and push that bird out and it flushes, then yes, exactly what you said. They're going to learn that, hey, if they don't point long enough, they're not going to get an opportunity on that bird. And you do have to have some restraint and not shoot those birds for them then. Because otherwise, we're just reinforcing a flash point is all you need to do to get a bird shot for you.
Yes, and like we say in a lot of different episodes and training videos and all the things, what your dog is doing, they are conditioning themselves to. Now, there is a fine line here, like Kat mentioned, handling that wild bird correctly. That wild bird's going to teach a lot to the dog, and that's the way we try and utilize and recreate with electronic launchers. So if you don't have wild bird access and you're trying to kind of prepare your dog without, electronic launchers are definitely the best way to go with this because they allow for good timing and preventing your dog from overpressuring and learning naughty habits. Now, to caveat all of that, if you use the electronic launchers improperly, you can create more problems than you had to begin with, or you can create a lot of problems. Let's go with that.
Yes, any training tool used improperly can cause more problems as well. So,
Any training tool.
yes. So the last part of this question, I feel that it's the last other question that I didn't quite get to was asking about utilizing a bell to help keep track of him, or if that will scare birds away.
Don't do it.
Yeah, I was like, well, that's a terrible answer. We'll just let him go with it, and then I'll correct him. So yeah, you can use a bell. We don't use bells, but we use beeper collars, which allows us to be able to hear the dogs if they're on point or just locate them. We can push a button and it'll beep for us, or it can go on a running and pointing mode where it beeps while they're running, but beeps faster when they're on point, so that we can keep track audibly where the dogs are at if we can't see them in thick cover.
And there's a lot of people that think that those beepers scare birds off, but I could tell you right now that for every person that you find that says that the beeper scared birds off, I can recount a single bird that I've shot over a dog on point with beepers going off, or multiple dogs pointing and backing, doom, 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 going.
And the birds aren't getting up until we flush.
Now we walk in, kick them up.
But
These are wild birds, folks.
yeah, the other side of it is, birds flushing wildly happens, whether you got a beeper collar on the dog, whether you have a bell on the dog, whether the dog is overpressuring the birds or not, especially towards later season, and wily smart birds start getting overpressured throughout the season, and they say, hey, we know somebody just got in the field and we are out because we don't want to be hunted anymore.
I feel like pheasants or
Happens.
birds in general must just run hot, right? So any amount of warmth in the air, and they're just like, I don't want to be here. But they get out when it's cooler, and it's like, they're gone. Running on top of snow, and they're out there moving and grooving, and it's like energize them like the dogs do. You just gotta get dogs out, and it's like, ooh, it's a cool morning. Here we go. I think the birds are the same way.
So to answer your question, the bell will not scare the birds off, but it will help you potentially keep track of your puppy. Bells aren't super loud, so the puppy's going to have to be fairly close and moving to be able to hear them.
Yeah, that's my thing. So first of all, I think a bell's not a bad thing for a little ching ching ding-a-ling, ching ching ding-a-ling, ding ching ching. When you are in the woods, or in really thick cover where the dog's gonna be close to you, but you can't see them for the most part, that's not bad. But I will tell you, I've hunted with a few people with bells, and I don't really care to listen to them, just like I don't really care to listen to beepers all day long. Hate it. It's noisy. Let's just be at and peace with the outdoors, bro. But I like it to be quieter, and then when the noise starts, I can zero in on exactly where that dog is really fast. Now, with the bell, it's the exact opposite. Ching, 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 ching. It stopped. Oh, shit. Where did I hear that beeper last? Where did I hear the bell last?
I just
think it was
tuning it out after a while.
Yeah,
Where was it?
I think it was kind of that direction, maybe. And you just start wandering because the bell no longer makes noise, where the beeper works in the opposite of that, and it's like a homing beacon to where the dog actually has stopped. So to each their own in that, but neither way they're not going to affect your birds.
So
Unless maybe you're in an area where there's a bajillion guys with bells, and then now the birds are bell trained. I don't know. I wouldn't worry about it.
no, I wouldn't worry about it
If
either.
you like a bell, go for a bell, buddy.
But those were really great questions. I think a lot of people have them coming up on their first season with their first bird dog. But just ultimately go out, have fun, expect your puppy to make some mistakes. They have a lot to learn still, and birds make a bird dog. So a hunting season, now that they've got the basics, is going to help them put all the pieces together and gain that experience that we're looking for.
From Caldwell Smith, I know every dog is different, but based on your experience, how long would you say it takes to correct a dog from being gun shy?
Ooh, this is a great last question because it was going to take a little bit.
Do you want to go or you want me to?
You're the guest, buddy. You can
All
start
right.
this one off.
So
And then I'll tell you.
I'm reminded by this. I had a client. She was actually short hair. He's the nicest man in the world. He's a pediatrician, and he has this 5-year-old dog that's gun shy.
Okay.
It's a German Shorthaired, but he really wants to hunt. He loves shooting sporting clays and loves to go to the preserve, and he can't take his dog because she's gun shy.
Yeah.
So he brings her out, and I'm just looking at what she's doing. And I'm saying she just doesn't know what she's doing. She's not gun shy. She's just lacked confidence, right?
Okay.
So all I did in that situation was hyped prey drive, taught her her role, her job.
Yep.
And now she's locking up on point and chasing birds. I'm letting her chase. She's screaming across the field. I don't even care. Come back in 5 minutes because she's just having fun. And then all of a sudden, I shoot a 22 or 209 primer, right?
Yep.
And she's far away and hauling butt.
Doesn't care anymore.
No, and then we move it in and move it in, move it in. And slowly but surely, her natural instinct, prey drive, and confidence in her job, that was it. Like, I didn't have to do anything different.
Yeah.
You have a straight up scared to death, runs underneath the truck, runs back to the house, will not work gun shy dog. My solution would be similar to what I did with Grace there. You're super far away. I would completely eliminate guns for a very long time, and I'd build all that drive, all that confidence, and then I would have the gun present, and I would, carry it around, and I would have it become a non-issue, and then I would start very far away with just your 209 and just read that dog's body language, build drive, build intensity, build confidence, and slowly, and watch that dog's body language.
Absolutely. I think that he hit the nail on the head. And the biggest things that I want to reiterate on is that gunfire doesn't fix gun shyness. Building prey drive and desire fixes it, because all we need to do is for the dog to not pay attention. And that's key when we're doing even just our gunfire introductions, is if the dog pays attention at all, we need to slow that down. Our goal is that they're focused on a task, and we have to build drive for that task, which is usually with bird dogs, bird related.
Yep.
I've had some instances where we've been able to work something more food drive related.
Or bumper related.
Or bumper related, yep. But it's something that dog really wants to work for. If they don't have anything they want to work for, we've got to find something first and develop something that becomes high drive and desire to do that task.
Absolutely.
Once you get to that point, the rest is all downhill. But don't push it. And again, gunfire does not fix gun sensitivity or gun shyness issues.
Yeah, I'm sure you guys have a video on gun introduction on your YouTube
We have a
channel.
couple of gunfire introductions. I saw on your YouTube channel, you've got a great video on gunfire introductions.
Yeah, so some short hairs or pointers, they don't have that same retrieve drive that we have.
Yep.
So it would be more pointing and letting them chase that bird versus like bumpers. So mine's more bumper related, and his YouTube would be more pointing related. So there's options for you, depending on your dog, of how to introduce it
properly. But definitely once that sensitivity issue's there, you have to reevaluate and approach it slowly and differently. But every dog, especially depending on the level of sensitivity, if you have a dog that is scared to death because potentially it went somewhere else and wasn't handled properly, or you didn't handle the situation properly, you kept trying to hunt over the dog, and it just got worse and worse and worse. Those sensitivity issues are going to be much more ingrained than, I went out one time, I saw something I thought looked a little sketchy, a little gun sensitive, and I stopped completely and
Exactly.
then, started over. That's going to be usually an easier fix, a shorter term fix. But definitely you have to just read the dog and read the situation, and can't stress enough, you can't push a dog through it. If they are
absolutely not.
hesitant, is not confident in what they're doing, you can't just be like, well, we're going to do this until you are confident. That doesn't exactly work. You have to let them build their confidence at their own rate.
And that's the last point that I was going to throw out there is, when you see sensitivity, don't continue to push it. Seek additional help. The more that you compound that problem, the harder and the longer it's going to take to fix it. So, anything else to add?
Can't have a gun dog if they're afraid of guns.
I like it. Hey guys, thanks everybody for watching. We want to thank Bob for being on the show today.
We don't really know
The show.
what to call it yet.
Yawa. Guys, check out his Instagram channel page. Check out his Insta. Check out his YouTube channel, and then be prepared.
Podcast too.
Oh yeah, heck yeah! You got the podcast. I've been on there. It's a really sweet deal. They're doing that weekly.
Yep, every Wednesday or so. It's a new one. It's called Lone Duck's Gun Dog Chronicles, and we're at Lone Duck on Instagram. That's kind of where we're most. I don't know. I'm using prevalent. I use it the most. So check me out.
I like it.
Next question from _JRock on Instagram. And I love this question because Ethan and I always talk about what is our true purpose for doing YouTube videos. And it's to help educate people and share our advice and our knowledge and all of the information that we have. So this is a great question. What do you recommend for someone who has never had a hunting dog that was trained for hunting, but wants to get one or get into hunting with a dog?
That is a really, I'm like
He's going to spill.
struggle busting it here.
So that's a
really good question.
yes. And I would say that the more knowledge you can have before you even start, the better.
Does he have the dog, do you say?
No, he says before
Getting
one or
Interesting.
getting into hunting with a dog.
Mhm.
Yep, they want to get one and get into hunting with a dog,
I like
and
it.
they've never done it.
I like it.
So doing your research, I mean, obviously you're asking questions and you must be watching some of our videos to get some information. That would be a really great place to start, is watching some training videos, watching some hunting videos.
Which we have both on our channel.
We do.
Mhm.
And then also, I would recommend taking a hunter safety class
It's a great idea.
because it's very important to be able to handle a firearm safely and hunt safely when you have a dog, and even if you don't have a dog.
Mhm. Mhm. Another really good one would be if you get the opportunity or if you can, come to one of our seminars. You can come as just an observer. And it gives you the opportunity to watch other people with dogs and us handle dogs and see kind of that training level. Now, I would recommend that you pick one that's more geared toward introductory stuff, like
Yeah,
puppy or
just coming up in a couple weekends, we have our puppy training one in June, which would be a good option. And we've got a few spots available.
we are open. We are able to do this unless something crazy changes in the next couple weeks here. But we will have the seminar here. It is posted on our website, standingstonekennels.com/store. You can go right there and see
There's a
June
tab for
puppy
training
seminar. So if you
seminars.
have a puppy, you're within a reasonable driving distance of us, which reasonable to everybody is a little bit different. We've seen recently, but um, definitely see if you can get one of those last few spots available and get all of the introductory stuff with your puppy. But
Even if you don't have a puppy, you can just sign up as an observer to get the information.
come watch, come
And we
learn,
do have another one, I think, in
come
September
one, come all.
that is for hunting prep, which might not be a bad one if you can't make the puppy one, to also get a pretty good introductory idea of how these dogs are going to be utilized for hunting.
We talk about in that one specifically how to actually take your dog and hunt. We'll evaluate some different fields and discuss wins and things like that and say, this is how we would, go after this specific property to try and best utilize our dog to be a really beneficial help in that hunting situation.
And then my last recommendation would be try and find a mentor of some kind that could help you. Somebody that has dogs, a similar breed that you're interested in getting would be beneficial as well, so that they have a similar hunting style. And maybe you can even tag along in the field for a few hunts. You wouldn't be hunting, you wouldn't be shooting anything, but you'd be able to watch them hunt, see what they're doing, watch their dogs work. Something like that would be really beneficial. Somebody that you can ask questions of as well and have kind of a one-on-one relationship with
Who is
that can take you under their wing.
under their wing? Who is that? Who has the mentor program? Isn't there somebody that set this up?
Ah.
I think it was. I think it's a Project Upland thing that they were talking about catering to. Well, maybe they were just talking about
I
catering
think a
more
lot
to
of
a specific age.
organizations are talking about like the 3 R's of recruitment, retention, and what's the other word?
Uh,
I don't know. Pheasants Forever does that. I know NAVDA organization does a lot with trying to bring new
do a
people.
lot of stuff.
All these organizations that have dogs and hunting based ideals are under the we all know that the sport could die out if we don't bring in the right people to continue it, which
And
yes,
introduce them right. I mean, I think that there really has been boundaries put up. A lot of hunters, bird dog people. Some of them, let's go. A majority of them can be guys, and a lot of guys can get some. Ooh, let's go with they can be arrogant assholes, and I mean, this is being serious, and it becomes more of a like I don't want to go with them because they're just going to make fun of me because I don't know what's going on. I mean, there's a lot of that teasing and making fun and poking fun
yeah.
rather than saying, hey, we get that you don't know how to do this. And we would love to bring you along to show you because hunting is such a huge part of my life. And, it's not just about killing, it's about camaraderie and getting to work with the dogs and being out.
In the
I don't want to
outdoors.
say in nature, but
In the
it is part of
outdoors,
that.
yeah.
I mean, it's
Especially
the
for people that
experience of the
have to
event.
sit in an office all day. Like this is what they live for, getting that opportunity to be outside working with their dogs.
100%.
Uh,
So it's looking for a mentor is a great idea. And I think that a lot more people now are more open to that and realize that being a mentor is a good way to continue to grow the
Well,
hunting community as opposed to watching it continue to diminish and move toward the direction of, electronics and other what would be the word like the digital phase. I mean, everything is based around doing
sitting in front of
things.
a computer
Yeah.
and not getting out there. And this is a great way to do that. So
Good
very
question.
good question. This was a question that was asked by a couple of people, and we are in that.
One last caveat with that.
Okay.
Come on now.
That's fine. I just thought you were going to tell me I couldn't ask one more
Well,
question.
one more caveat with it. Just if you are looking for somebody, we're talking about mentors. We know a lot of people have a lot of connections around the United States. If you get with us, shoot us a message, and we can maybe help find somebody that's in a general vicinity.
Yeah, you're
even if you
connected
don't.
with a network of people that
Yes.
have a passion for the outdoors and for hunting and for dogs. That would be a good group of individuals for you to connect with.
Reach out. We're here to help.
The next question, which came from a YouTube comment, was, "Hey, Ethan and Kat," from Justin Laughlin. "Thank you so much for the information that you share with us on a constant basis.
Hey, Justin.
I have a 14-month-old
How you doing?
English lab and have been trying to introduce her to gunfire. I've been using a starter pistol and noticed that she will ignore the gunfire at great distances, but as I get into around 50 to 75 yards, she will stop retrieving and look up. There is no running away scared or any real response except looking at her ears will fold backwards.
Hmm.
If this happens, I stop. I'm not sure if she loses interest in the bumper because we use them a ton, yet I don't have access to pigeons, and my wife refuses to allow me to bring some in.
Come on, wife.
Should I try and switch to a dummy launcher because of the excitement of a bouncing bumper to entice the prey drive? What would be your thoughts on a gun sensitivity? I think that this would be an amazing Yawa segment. Thanks so much, Justin," which obviously we also thought it would be a good Yawa segment.
I'm going to say to start off with your specific words of when her ears pin back, you stop. It sounds like that's a multiple rep, right? Like the first one maybe, or the second one, and then the third one this happens or something. It doesn't say specifically, but
It doesn't give
sound
them
like
specifics, and that's what I was going to say. And being able to read what her body language is actually doing.
what you're explaining sounds like sensitivity, not extreme gun shyness, if you will, but definitely the gunfire pulls more focus than the task at hand, which is not what we want.
Yeah, and you've said that, you use these bumpers a lot for retrieving, so they aren't as an exciting situation because they're old news. The bumpers have been used over and over and over, and depending how long your session is, that's why getting to see a session or getting more information of, how many reps are you doing? For example, if you watch Thunder's gunfire intro, we did that with bumpers.
Yep.
And I was doing the training session. Our good friend Peter was helping. He was gunning. Ethan was videoing. And I had bumpers with me and I had Thunder. And we were doing the session. And then I watched the video back and was like, did I really only do 2 bumpers with him? And you're like, yeah, you did. I'm like, huh. Felt like or maybe it was 3.
You did 3, but there were 2 shots, I think.
Okay, maybe that was it.
Yep.
Because the first shot,
You guys were uncertain.
miscommunicado
Yep,
with
and-
our gunner. And so I only did 3
And the gunner
bumpers.
made the right choice of not shooting in that
Exactly.
situation. He's like, I didn't know what was going on there, so I didn't shoot.
Yep. So I only threw 3 bumpers for him in that entire gunfire intro training session. And I watched it back and I was like, did I really only do 3? Yes, I did. But it was because I wasn't counting in my head, well, I got to get to 5 or I got to get to 10. I was just watching Thunder, and he had to work a little bit harder for those bumpers because they ended up bouncing into some taller cover, and he was searching and it was getting warm, and he wasn't really letting down excitement level yet. But I didn't want to get to that point where then I'm like, oh, well, now we've lost momentum. Now we've lost excitement. Let's stop now. No, we want to stop when we still have that drive and desire and excitement going.
See, I think that's the biggest thing, not knowing, which is a lot of the folks that are listening here. And we completely understand that because at one point in time, I was there. I've not always been born with the ability to understand and read dogs. That was a learned behavior. See what I did there? Over time, that took experience. We had to experience these things. And there were definitely those times where, and still today, I'm not by any means perfect, but still today, I push sessions too far on occasion. But ultimately, it's knowing when to stop. And that is like, that could be another video in and of itself, the power of knowing when to end. I mean, it was,
Yeah, when to end a training session. And it is because we see it in all aspects of training, not just gunfire introductions, not just bird introductions. We see it a lot of times with trained retrieve sessions. We're watching, Patreon videos and going, "Oh, we made so much progress there. You should have stopped,
yes.
not pushed forward." And we actually did a video review
Uh-huh.
on our YouTube channel. We asked permission from one of our patrons and showed, hey, we are reacting to this video and this is when you should have stopped, not here. So that would be another really good video to reference, just understanding, hey, you can sometimes ask too much. But without seeing a video of your actual training session, based on the information, it sounds like there's some sensitivity.
Speaking of which, I want to throw just a little call to action, if you will, for the folks that are listening to this, because this is an important topic rolling into hunting season, which is in a lot of areas well underway or right about to be underway. And if you guys want to kind of have an experience of what the patrons are getting the opportunity to experience on a regular basis, but opening yourself up to the criticism of the interwebs, go ahead and make yourself a video of your training session. Okay. This is a freebie. We're only going to pick one, maybe two, but anybody that's watching, make yourself a video of your session. Type at the top. It has to be titled Standing Stone Video Review. Standing Stone Video Review. And if you put that in the title, I'll be able to search, find them before, next week or the week after, something. After this goes up, we'll give it a week. And then we can pull one of those videos and then do an actual review showing you, what it looks like to be a patron on a regular basis. And we'll say, all right, so right here, this is looking really good. And this set up right. And this not so right. Or this is where we need to do something different. Or this is what we need to do here, there, and different. And you can see kind of what on a first, exactly what it would be like for the folks that are signed up on Patreon already. And they're getting their videos reviewed on the daily. Every day except for Sunday, except for sometimes when I work on Sundays and people scold me for working on Sundays.
Sometimes you got to do what you got to do.
Yeah. But Standing Stone Video Review. Post your video, title it that. And if after I do this, if I search Standing Stone Video Review and nobody does it, then we'll assume you're all cowards and you should just sign up for Patreon where it's private between you and I.
But
Cowards.
I wanted to get back to talking about this lab and the potential for some gun sensitivity. So if there's truly gun sensitivity there, it's definitely not something that we want to compound by continuing to utilize bumpers and gunfire if it's not working right now for you. Birds may be the answer, which I know if you can't have a loft and your wife's like, no pigeons. But there's the potential that you could pick up some training birds just for the day that you're not going to keep around, but you're going to be using for just this purpose. But again, you don't want to overdo it. You don't want to do too many bird retrieves and you don't want to lose momentum. So it's kind of a balancing act. But getting, 2 pigeons, and then you can say, okay, I'm going to use these 2 pigeons and then I'm going to call it quits. Doing less is better than doing too much.
Correct.
So
Correct.
I wouldn't suggest your other option of utilizing a bumper launcher yet. If you see,
Absolutely not.
yeah, if you're
Chris,
seeing,
that's a hard no.
if you're seeing some sensitivity or even what you're questioning is that sensitivity, we don't want to compound it with a bumper launcher because they are not excited about chasing down this bumper prior to the gunfire happening. The gunfire happens and then the bumper goes. And if your puppy is already, or dog, I guess it's 14 months old, is already having apprehension about gunfire and they don't have the chase that they're thinking about and the excitement of a retrieve,
Yes.
then you're going to be causing more problems. So don't
And
do that.
That bumper launcher is drastically louder than
A blank pistol.
or even a shotgun. I mean, it's a sharper noise because it's using a 22 caliber. It's a different type of noise that comes out of those, as well as the way that they're ported and all of those things just makes them loud. And you got to have your dog pretty close to you in order to be able to see the whole thing. So it's not ideal to be set up that way if we see any type of apprehension to the noise.
And the last little plug, which I know we keep talking about Patreon because it is so powerful for people, but a really good option for a situation like this where you're like, I think I might be seeing some gun sensitivity. We definitely don't want to repeat a session, and compound that problem.
No.
Which
Live, baby.
doing it live, exactly, where you can be set up, videoing an actual session. We're watching it as it happens. And if we see the ears pinning or anything like that, we can say, hey, wait, Justin. I'm pretty sure we're talking about Justin. Yep, Justin.
Stop.
Stop what you're doing right now.
Collaborate and listen.
Build up some excitement again. Get your puppy and your dog pumped up again. Throw another retrieve, throw another bird, but don't do any more gunfire, and end on a high note, end on a good note. And then we can, since we saw what was happening as it was happening, we can help you make a plan for your next session before you said, oh, well, maybe I just do a couple more. Or, this is how I ended. And then we watch it and go, well, that might not have been the best way if it was a video that you'd already completed and training session was over and then you posted it for us to review. From Ashley Smith, do you do this in the morning or evening when it's cooler out? I ask because when I run my dog for 10 minutes when it's 80 plus out, he will be wobbling and almost falling over, so I won't let him
Too hot.
run only a few minutes when it's warm. Any advice?
Wobbling and almost falling over. You have gone too far, dear. Or sir. Ashley is a
Ashley is
sex
probably a boy.
Okay. Ashley.
But I don't know. That could be a bad assumption.
Yeah. Either way.
So
Person. You have gone too far. You need to be reading those signs and or preparing and or preventing any of those things from happening in the future. Now, as far as our dogs, we're pretty much doing it first thing in the morning. Zoe, one of our trainers and assistant trainers, is pretty much in charge of the roading regiment, and she does a great job. And all of that happens first thing, crack of dawn.
And so as far as temperatures, it's usually 70s. Or right now, this time of year is probably low 70s when they're running.
I think it was in the 60s this morning, but it was cool.
Yeah, but a lot of times it's not over the mid 70s and cloudy.
Definitely not in the 80s.
Yeah, definitely not 80 plus. And that's not the time that we would be running the dogs. So
Good question, though.
good question. And definitely one that when we shoot another conditioning, hunting dog health, roading video, we'll make sure to put that in that specific video because I'm thinking that that's a question that's going to get asked a lot.
Could be.
Next question from Justin Priniski.
Hey, Justin.
Hey guys, maybe a Yawa. Yawa, that's what we're doing with it. What age do you guys recommend starting roading? I have read anywhere from 6 months to 18 months. I know it depends on breed growth rate, but do you have a good rule of thumb? Also, for younger dogs that growth plates aren't fully developed but have a lot of energy, what would be a good option before roading or treadmill workouts? Thanks for all of these. I'm going to be getting a poodle pointer this coming spring, so I'm asking as much info as I can digest.
I love it. So the roading thing is, and you're going to hear that a lot. I mean, that's going to be probably the most consistent thing that you hear from individual unique dog trainers is that they are very consistently inconsistent. If you ask, I've heard multiple people say, if you ask 100 dog trainers, you get 100 answers and they'll all be different. So it's one of those things that ideally the more mature the dog is, our rough dement number is going to be 12 plus months. So if they fall into that, you're usually structurally closer to mature, but I don't think that growth plates completely close up or completely to that point until after 2 or something to that effect, 26 months.
And I'm sure it depends on the breed of the dog, those larger breed dogs and things like that. Those growth plates are going to take longer to close, where if you've got a little breed dog, you may not be roading them, but they're going to close quicker.
Yep. So ultimately, the closer we can get to maturity, the better. And then as far as you have a wound up pup, you need to burn some steam up. Treadmilling or a little bit of roading is okay, but it's got to be pretty minimal. And what we're trying to do is prevent abundance of trauma to those bones during that important development stage.
Yeah, and when we talk about roading, the way that our roading rig is set up, it's not so much about pulling. There is a little pulling, but it's not like sled dog pulling. It's more of a pacing, a little bit of pulling.
It's kind of just controlled running.
Yes, definitely. So that's one thing to keep in mind as well when you're setting up maybe your own roading rig, that it's not necessarily about the pull. And another thing that you can do for burning off steam is, free running the dogs.
Free running's going to be a little safer. But then, probably most importantly, out of all of the things, is going to be more mental stimulation. Doing training type events and sessions that challenge your dog mentally is going
Healing,
Yes.
healing. Once your puppy's over 6 months old and they're super independent in the field, work a lot on that obedience. That's going to be very mentally taxing for that puppy.
Yep. And you'll see just as big of benefits, if not more sometimes, from a mentally exhausted pup as you will from a physically exhausted pup. They don't seem to bounce back as quickly from a mental exhaustion standpoint, and especially in the early stages of that. But if you have plans to take them further in training, you need to start growing that brain early, or they give you a lot more pushback.
Yeah, because a little bit of stress, so expecting your puppy to lay on a dog bed for longer, is going to help them grow, because stress is important for growth. And if they can stay on a dog bed for a longer duration through more distractions, that's another mentally taxing exercise that you can do with your puppy at home, that's not going to risk growth plates or anything like that.
Yeah. So, like Kat said, stress is extremely important, just like it is for any other growth. Things like muscle development. You start working your muscles, they break down a little bit, they get sore, they grow back. You stress them too much, they break, they take a long time to fix that. So, keep that in mind when you're working with your dogs. It's going to be the same. Push them too far, it's going to take a long time to fix those things.
So this is a really good question from Zachary Stoltz. What is the best way to get into bird hunting with a dog without breaking the bank?
Ooh.
You guys do great work. And this was a really good question because you just talked about, best bang for your buck. And we are headed into hunting season as we speak, basically. I mean, beginning of September, dove season's opening up. There's a lot, and then there's going to be teal, and then there's going to be, depending on where you're at exactly in the States, lots and lots of hunting opportunities coming up. So how do you get into hunting without breaking the bank?
Well, I'm going to
With
say
a dog.
with a dog. Okay, so I'm going to say starting off, in order to get into hunting, one of the most important things that you need that kind of can't be band-aided together or makeshift with other stuff that you have maybe is you need a shotgun. If you don't have a shotgun, you can't really go bird hunting unless you're going to get in the archery aspect of it, but that's a whole different ballgame and insanity, essentially. And not on the cheap zones. No,
right?
you can burn through more arrows in, yeah. So we're going to go into, you need a shotgun. Now, I would say Kat and I shoot Beretta shotguns, have for a long time. Love them. They are not the top dollar, but they are a higher dollar shotgun. They last, they hold up well. We shoot a lot, which is important to have a little higher end stuff. But before that, my first shotgun, and still a quality company today, is TriStar. They make a really nice semi-automatic shotgun. It's called the Viper G2. I always get mixed up exactly, but you'll find it. It's their semi-automatic shotgun comes in 20 or 12. It's a really high quality gun, shoots like a tank. I mean, it's not the fastest thing in the whole world, but I've not had any issues with mine misfiring. I got it. It was sent out to me from a guy, a buddy of mine who owns a company where you can actually buy them, or you can buy other guns. Spare Change Defense. And again, he's providing quality deals and trying to help the average guy out with his gun shop. So SpareChangeDefense.com. Doyle will get you hooked up. But TriStar makes a quality shotgun. So step one, get a shotgun.
Yes. Step two, if you want to hunt with a dog, you got to have a dog. And
this should be a place. I don't know if this is exactly where you're going this exact second, but this would be the place that I wouldn't bang for your buck. I mean, a lot of times
you pay for a lot of times. And yeah, there's going to be somebody that throws in the comments that I got my dog for free and it's the best dang dog I've ever had in my life. And you may have had that happen and you're lucky. That doesn't always happen. And you are going to typically be better off paying a little more for a dog that has a health clearances, that the parents are healthy, that that those dogs are out of hunting lines. So you're going to get a dog that's going to be natural as far as coming into hunting, knowing what they need to do with a minimum amount of training to get them there.
There's no such thing as a free dog. I mean, they're just not. And you got to go get them shots. And then sometimes there's something going on that you got to do that. I mean, you're going to end up spending the same money that you would on the quality pup at the veterinarian a lot of times. So definitely. And then on top of that, the dog that's well bred, and this doesn't, I mean, there are quality dogs and different breeds at different price ranges. You don't have to go buy the most expensive dog you could ever find, but everybody has a budget. We get that. But do your diligence. Find somebody that's done some health clearances, has put the time, effort, and energy, not just said, we love our dogs and they're good, so we wanted to breed them. But can prove to you that they're quality dogs and everything else. And if you find somebody in that niche that has those things that you feel comfortable with, you're going to end up with a good dog, and it's going to be a lot easier to train them, a lot less expensive to get them to the point where they're ready to go hunting with you.
Yeah, and you definitely want your dog to be ready to hunt, even if it's from a well-bred program and out of hunting lines. That doesn't necessarily mean it's just going to be ready to go hunting. It still needs some exposure to things like a bird intro, a gun intro. We actually talk about in another video the prerequisites that you must have before you take your dog hunting. So I would definitely recommend checking that video out, especially coming into hunting season, to make sure that your dog really is ready to go hunting so that you don't create problems by taking them when they're unprepared. But if you get a dog that's high quality, that has the natural ability to be a good hunting dog, you most likely can do a lot of the beginning training and get them ready to go hunting yourself.
If you're on our YouTube channel now watching this, if you go to our channel page by clicking on Standing Stone Kennels, anywhere that you see that, it will take you to our channel. And then you can hit playlists, and it actually shows step-by-step in order what we taught several different dogs, including Quest and Rogue and Sprig and Mac, I think has got a playlist in there. And then Fox has got a starting playlist, and there's a lot of different playlists that show the introductory work into getting and prepping your dog for hunting season.
Yeah, and then if you need a little more help than just following along with the videos, we do have an online dog training community on Patreon where we can actually give you feedback and help you work with your dog through video exchanges, through live video chats to help you train your dog and get them ready for hunting season. So you can save some money instead of sending your dog off for training, which, yes, can get expensive.
So now we have a shotgun and we have a bird dog. Those are the two most important things to get into it. And probably the most expensive.
And a basic training of your bird dog.
Yep. And probably the most expense that you're going to have wrapped up into it if you're trying to do this on the dollar. The next thing is, if you are just learning how to hunt, I would assume in this process of gun and bird dog, you will have found a mentor or come across somebody that can help you a little bit. But
one of your friends likes to hunt and they're taking you under their wing.
But a mentor is going to be beneficial. But then the rest of it isn't that big of a deal. You can wear whatever clothing that you want, essentially, as long as you're following state regulations, which in upland hunting, orange is a good recommendation from a safety standpoint, but not required. But the rest of it is just something that feels comfortable to hike through the grass. You can wear your blue jeans. You can wear a good pair of boots that you've got. And then, enough warmth to stay depending on what time of year it is. And a bird vest. You can find bird vests for $30 or $40, game hide or some. There's always some kind of brand of a standard bird vest that can hold some shotgun shells. It can hold some birds if you end up killing something. And then you need a hunting license. And when you go to pick up your hunting license, depending on what your state you're in, you can find maps to all of the public hunting ground in your area. Kansas has a ton. I know Nebraska has a fair amount. Iowa has some.
And definitely depending on what state you're in, it may be called something different, but it is public access land.
Yep. So in Kansas, it's a lot of it. There's state ground, but there's also, I refer to it as WIHA. It's walk-in hunting areas, WIHA. And all of those have slightly different regulations, but they show them right there on the signs. It'll say shotgun only, archery only. You only have access during specific times, but it tells you all of those things. But you can get maps to all of this stuff. Even out west and northwest, you can get on BLM land, which is block management. Please correct me, throw it in the comments, tell me exactly what BLM stands for. But it is, again, your public access ground. Some of it is private owned where the state pays them to allow you to hunt on it. Some of it is state ground. All of these things, there's plenty of places, South Dakota, Kansas, Nebraska, North Dakota, Iowa. I don't know that I've specifically hunted public ground in Missouri, but I'm sure that there is some. Minnesota has a ton of state ground. I know Wisconsin has state ground. All of these different places have access to birds. These areas that I have hunted, but other states have something. You can find that right where you're buying your hunting license or online. You have access to this.